Hello, folks, and welcome back to Teekotalks. This is your host Luqmaan Rauff, and you are joining us on episode 11 of the stories series that is season 2. And before we begin, this is your reminder to rate the podcast if you are listening to this on podcasting apps such as Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. If you are watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments down below if you enjoyed this episode. So, getting right into the episode, today we are coming back to the East after a little break where we explored Africa and the West and all that. So, joining us today is Reyhan Hamit, fifth year medical student at the Dalian Medical University of China. So, today it's going to be stories from China. Welcome to the show, Reyhan.
Hi, bro. Thank you for hosting me today.
The pleasure is mine, man. So thanks for joining. So when was the first time we started talking about this? It's been what, how long? 6, 7 months since we started. We should do a podcast. When was the first time? Like,
I think it's more than that.
it's more than that,
I
right?
think it's more than that.
Yeah.
Therefore,
And
I think the first time you contacted me, I could not make it. I
yeah,
had exams, and then when we tried, we had connection issues because out there, unless we have a VPN,
yeah,
we cannot connect with most of the apps that we regularly use. So
mm,
Zoom does not work out there.
right,
We have
yes.
other platforms similar to Zoom,
And then I had
and it
exams,
was
and
delayed.
then it got so much of delay. And when you reached out to me like, Machan, I'm in Sri Lanka, shall we do this? I'm like, if I miss this opportunity, I'm not going to get this again. You're flying in 2 or 3 days, right?
I'm flying the day after, bro.
Yeah, flying the day after. So like I caught you by the edge because my exams also finished last week. So I'm like, somehow we need to work this out within this week and sort it out. So I'm so glad that we were able to pull this off and get it on the table. Yeah. So let's begin as usual, right? So the very first question that I usually ask anyone who comes on the show, if you watch the show, you know what it is. What was it like moving into China, right? So when did you go to China? When was the time you went to China?
So it's been exactly 2 years since I went to China.
Wait,
Uh,
two
I
oh,
flew there on
uh,
2022. So
right.
before that, I had done 2 years online.
Okay.
Since it was COVID, I could not start my degree out there. So I started my degree out here in Sri Lanka. Was doing it online. So during that time, I also had other clinical experiences, like in a few hospitals, like the Hospital.
Uh,
And yeah, 2 years back, I was allowed back to the country.
right. So the first time you flew to China was in 2022.
22. Yeah.
Right. So, and you've been in China for 2 years. So what was it like when you flew in? So 2022, I suppose that was right when COVID had settled and the country was opening up, right?
Yeah, when they first opened up, but COVID wasn't settled. It was
Okay.
so much regulations, there was curfew, not curfew.
Quarantine.
What do you call it? Quarantine.
Yeah.
Quarantine. There was quarantine regulations, and we had to undergo strict procedure, like sanitation procedures, and even during quarantine, it was very strict that we could not talk to each other, and we had to have separate rooms.
Oh,
Even during the flight, it was there was so much regulations.
okay. So even
So
like
it was not
once
easy.
you went into campus, you had to follow all these quarantine things.
Yeah. So so regardless of whether you quarantined or not, like once you enter the country, there was a mandatory 2 weeks quarantine.
Okay.
And then we had a separate quarantine of 3 days inside university when we entered the domes.
Okay. So was it just you who went, or did you have like a set of people with you who went
No,
from?
I had a group of people. Well, I delayed my return by like
Okay.
3 months. So I had a group of friends who went before me.
Okay.
They suffered even more than I did.
Because they
So
went.
once it was before us. So once it was my turn to go, it cooled down a bit, it calmed down.
Right, right. So once you went in, what was it like? Like, so you said return. So have you gone in before that? You went in
Oh
before
yeah,
that?
sorry, I misheard it. No, it was my first time going.
Right. Okay.
I keep on saying return to every single person I meet, but it was my first time going.
Okay. So what was that
It
first
feels
time
like a
like?
return because I have been, it feels like a return because I have been studying for 2 years online,
Okay, okay, I get it.
studying Chinese and doing everything. online, sitting in front of my computer with Chinese people, and finally when you get to go, it feels like a return.
Yeah. I can understand your what you are coming from. So it makes sense. So what was it like? What exactly was it like when you landed in China and then surrounded by all these foreign people in a foreign
Okay,
land?
so mm, my first encounter with a Chinese local was at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So his thing, I did not have a SIM, and we were a group of like I think 13, 14, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I had to after like a 7 hour flight, I had to inform my parents that I landed safely. Yeah,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I did not know any Chinese. I just knew how to greet person
Okay.
saying ni hao.
Okay.
Uh, and I tried to approach someone in the airport to ask for Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that did not turn out well. The guy did not understand a word I said. I tried my best.
No
No.
English.
So that's when I realized no English.
Oh.
No English. That's when I realized no. Well, the only person that I met who spoke English was the immigration officer.
Okay.
He did speak a bit of English. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he spoke enough English to ask me where I'm going and where I'm coming from, and my documents like my passport. And we have this form called the JW. It's basically like a clearance form. So he knew enough English to know, ask me for my documents. It was a nightmare. So I had to go around asking people the washroom, but no one understood what I asked for. And then I
Oh.
finally figured it out.
So was it just you who had to
So
go through
yeah,
this suffering,
that
or
was
was everyone else in the group in a similar situation?
well, I think most of them who flew with me did not know Chinese,
Right.
but most of our seniors, so those who flew with me were basically people from my batch, students from my batch, and
Mhm.
junior batches.
Okay.
So since we started online, our Chinese was very bad, bro.
Ah.
But the ones who flew before us, so they
Mhm.
were basically seniors.
Mhm.
They knew enough Chinese to get by.
Right.
So I
So
don't think they would have
so
had
basically
the
y'all
same
learn
experience.
Chinese for like 6 months at the beginning, or 6 months to 1 year at the beginning of your course. Is that how it is?
Uh, not no, we learned Chinese for like 3 years. So
Three
how it
years.
works is yeah, how it works is we study Chinese along with our course, and we have
Okay.
a mandatory exam to pass before
Okay.
our internship. So our internship is on the 6th year. We have 1 year, fifth year, second semester. We
Mm-hmm.
have 1 year of mandatory internship.
Mm-hmm.
So before we enter our internship, we have to pass this mandatory Chinese exam. It's not an exam by the university; it's a government exam.
Makes sense.
So unless we pass that exam, we aren't allowed to start our internship.
So you get to do your internship in China itself.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
to do it. We have no choice.
And if you want to do your internship in China, obviously you should be able to manage Chinese, right? Or else you're gonna be
Yeah,
like
exactly. So
lost.
that's the whole point to making
Yeah,
us learn
yeah,
Chinese.
makes sense.
Because, I would say around 5% of the population speaks English. I had no idea what they were saying, neither did they have any idea what I was saying.
This is very similar to when I did Japan. Okay, so in Japan, Ranul, the one I interviewed in Japan, he said this almost exactly the same thing. Like without Japanese, no one knows English there. So it's like you need to know at
Yeah.
least some sort of Japanese to get through. So I think it's a very similar situation that I'm seeing here. So after that, once you went into uni, and what was it like in the first few months integrating and getting used to the lifestyle um, of China?
Well, so as I told you before, like, I had some friends who went there ahead of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically helped me out with everything.
Uh-huh.
Well, they took their time to find the goods and the bads. So they showed me around the university, and it helped me, to settle in.
So they were like the
And the
guinea
food,
pigs, and like
yeah.
you were like the
So they have been trying out the food from every single place, and I just asked them what's good, what's bad.
right. So
And so the other thing is that there's a certain way how the dome works,
right.
the university dome, the
Mm.
canteens. There's a specific way to pay.
Uh-huh.
Unlike Sri Lanka, we don't pay with cash.
Okay.
Uh, so they helped us out with making our digital payment accounts, and especially shops, and where to find which goods. So
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's good to have someone
I
who's
picked
been
up on
there. Like if you had
yeah,
gone
yeah,
in
yeah,
there and like you were like the first batch and you didn't have anyone who had already been there, you would have been as lost as I don't know what to say, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thankful that I went late. I saved up some money. Like
Uh-huh.
there was we did not do it. Our classes did not start.
Okay.
So and plus our dorms weren't open, so they had to stay outside. So they had an extra
Uh-uh.
cost of paying for the hotel for like I think
Right,
3 months. So I saved
okay.
up money on hotel and all of those. And plus it was better for me to leave, get back late. The experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the most important part about that. So, like generally, once you start moving into the country and like after the first few months getting used to the lifestyle, what was the single most factor that just stood out to you? Like, I remember when I was doing Finland, the one thing that Hemaka told was, the cold, the weather, you cannot escape it. It was so cold. And then, some of them have told me about the food, the food being the most difficult factor to get used to. So I call it, the cultural shocks. Once you get used to life in Sri Lanka and then you go to China, what was the cultural shock that you faced? Like, which actually like hit you like, oh my God, this is so different.
By cultural shock, for me it was always the language. It
Right.
still is.
2 years in, it
It was
still is the
always,
language.
yeah, still is the language. Well, now I think I can get by pretty well.
Okay.
But yeah, the first few months I was lost.
Hmm.
It was the translator, bro. I had to use the app. If I lost my phone, I was lost.
So it's
So
what
yeah, the bigger
like something like Google Translate,
the
but
bigger
not Google
difference.
Translate, right? You can't use Google Translate.
No, yeah. So they have Google. So we have to use a VPN.
Ah.
If we have to use any Google services, we have to use an VPN.
Mm.
Well, there are other local apps like this Baidu and few
Okay.
other local apps with good translate options.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so for me, so the biggest change was not being able to communicate with every single person that out here I think I speak all three languages, Tamil, Sinhala, and English pretty well.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with conversing with anyone on the road, regardless of which language they speak.
Yeah.
So out there, not being able to talk freely to people, that had an impact. Plus that food, Chinese food is pretty good.
Uh-huh.
It's actually good. The only problem was finding halal places to eat.
Right.
So inside our university, there were like 2-3 places which were halal
Okay.
back then. But then back then I did not know, and plus some of them weren't Muslims who went ahead of us.
Okay.
So yeah, finding a bit halal places was tough.
Hmm. But other than that, the food is
But
great.
food overall is good, honestly.
Okay. So do you all cook in your dorms or like is it always outside food?
We No, we do, bro.
You know.
We do. So here's the thing: once in a while, you miss home food.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was coming to. Yeah.
Bro, I'm a bad cook, but I only could make an omelette before I left the country.
Now?
But now I can cook a pretty good chicken curry. That's all I think I can do.
So that's a character arc. That's character development.
Had to learn.
Yeah, it's you put it into the situation.
Had to learn.
You had no choice.
You have to do what you have to do to survive.
Exactly. So about Chinese food, right? So is it similar to our food? Like in the sense, like I know it's different in the sense, like is it bland or is it spicy or is it like I know it's raw for a change.
No, it's not raw. It's bland. So
Okay.
we Sri Lankans, Indians, and Pakistanis, Bangladesh. We have our unique spices.
Yeah.
The taste. So you don't get that taste, and it's the spices basically.
Uh-huh.
So they don't have the spices we do. So their food is a bit bland.
Yeah, but it's good in its own way. Like, of course, it's
Good in its own way. Yeah. So if you have been used to eating only Sri Lankan rice and curry and all the stuff, it would be a big hit for you. You would miss it a lot.
So are there
But
places
then
where you
you have
can
to
get
get
Sri Lankan food, like
not Sri Lanka. So there's this restaurant in our university canteen who makes kottu. So
kottu?
I don't know the story behind it, but what I
Okay.
heard was a Sri Lankan a Sri Lankan like introduced the dish to him.
Okay.
And when we go and say kottu, the guy knows what we mean.
So it's the
So
Chinese
it's
guy
actually kottu.
who makes
It
kottu.
doesn't taste the same as Sri Lanka. The Chinese guy, yeah,
Okay.
Chinese guy. So what my seniors told me was it was a Sri Lankan who and asked him to introduce it. I see a lot of local students. I mean, by local I mean Chinese. A lot of Chinese buying kottu from him, but they call it a different name. Like I can't remember what they call it.
I mean, it's like a thing, Sri Lankans go and we introduce kottu, like.
Yeah, that happens all over the world. But it's not bad, for the Chinese made kottu. It's not bad. It's actually good.
Right. So, that's a nice touch to have Chinese making kottu in for us. Yeah, that's really nice. So, tell me something more about the food that you have encountered in China.
It's mostly noodles. By noodles, I don't mean ramen. I mean like noodles, not the instant noodles. So noodles is one of the main dishes I would say out there. So they have all types of noodles. What else? What else do I have out there?
So,
and fried rice. Fried rice is very common. It's very
so
common out there.
you know what? Every bloody hotel in Sri Lanka sells Chinese fried rice, right?
Bro, there's a saying in China. Okay. If it's an old man, it's an old man with old clothes, cooking your food. You can guarantee that the food is good. Okay, I don't know how they say it in Chinese, but I actually translated it. It was on a Chinese TikTok, and that is so true. So out of my university, I have this. We call it shushu. Shushu translates to uncle.
Okay.
So he knows me very well because I have been buying from him almost every other day.
Shushu.
He does not deliver. Yeah, so that's how we say uncle.
Okay.
In Chinese.
Okay.
So that guy knows me very well right now. Because of how frequently I've been going to him. The fried rice tastes so good. His rice.
So my question is the Chinese fried rice you're talking about has anything in common with the Chinese fried rice that they sell in Sri Lanka in those pilavos and this plaza and
No, it's not close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. Well, it's not that the rice out here is not good. No, it's just that it's different. If it's nothing similar to the Chinese fried rice, you can't call it Chinese fried rice. Yeah,
of course.
Can be good. Ramen, bro. That's my food. The whole month of exam.
Because it's quick and easy.
Quick and easy, bro. I spent 2 minutes, on the instant. So what else do we have out there? Well, barbecue stands are very common. Barbecue stands.
Like on the road, like street food, something like that.
On the road. So yeah, street food. So they offer everything, from chicken, beef, lamb, squid, octopus. Also, I swear it tastes good. I'm not lying.
I think I've tried it once. I mean, not barbecued octopus, but I tried some octopus dish once. I couldn't differentiate it from the rest of the stuff in the thing. Yeah, but yeah.
It was good. What else? What do you call it? I find it hard to recall. This food with the shell. Oysters.
Oysters,
So I hate it, but people tend to love it. I don't know why. And they cook it in a very unique way. They put noodles into it.
They put the noodles into the oyster.
to the oyster,
Okay.
like a bit of noodles.
Okay.
So it's very weird, bro. I never liked it, and I don't think I ever will. I've tried it once, but I have friends who slurp it.
Are these friends Sri Lankans you're talking about, or like locals?
Sri Lankans.
Okay.
Sri Lankans. I have no idea how they put it in their mouth, bro.
Bro,
No, but a lot of people like oyster.
when you talk about oysters, you know what I remember? I don't know if you've watched this, the Mr. Bean's comedy where he takes the oysters and he acts like, is that oysters, right? Yeah. Like he's in France and he takes the oysters. He acts like he's
The thing in the restaurant.
Yes. And then he drops it into his napkin.
And then he pours it into someone's bag, yeah? I remember that.
Yeah. That's what I remember.
I swear that's how I will like if someone offered me oysters. Because I don't like them. Not at all.
Oysters, interesting.
Oysters smell good. Oysters do smell good when you're passing by. So sushi, I have never tried sushi in China, bro. Being honest, but a lot of so they say it's good, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't like the whole concept of eating raw fish. I don't know.
It's a bit scary.
So
Especially studying medicine, you're a bit scared, you know what it's
not
gonna.
yeah, that also plays a role, but I don't know. I've tried sushi once in Sri Lanka. I don't want to name where, but I did not like it. Maybe that's how it tasted, or maybe they did not make it well. So since then, no, I've never wanted to try sushi again.
It's like you've been traumatized, right?
Yeah, bro. Well, that once was enough.
So moving on from food, so we actually touched a bit on this in the beginning when we spoke about the biggest cultural shock that you faced, right? Language. So what was your experience with the language like?
Well, it was hard for me at the beginning,
To learn the
like I said,
language. To learn the language.
to learn the language. Yeah,
Right.
because it was hard at the beginning. But once I started learning the basic sentences, how to converse, how the numbers, especially the numbers,
Right.
because that's wherever you go, you deal with numbers. Whether it's a shop, whether it's a taxi, whether it's time, wherever it is. So yeah, me learning the basic sentences helped me a lot, and that's why I realized, how worth it was. Because the first 2 months, I just stood behind someone while they conversed for me or while they talked on behalf of me. But then gradually, I started learning a few sentences. Well, I'm actually supposed to learn, but I pushed it back in my exams.
Right.
Once I started learning a few sentences, and then I realized how important it was.
Yeah.
And plus, knowing Chinese is not it's always a positive thing in your career. That's what I feel like, because of how how big of a country China is, and the impact on the world.
Definitely. So like you're
And
gonna.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah. So I was about to come into as well. So you will have an added advantage when you come back to Sri Lanka. But so like now that you mentioned it, I realize like numbers, right? I have never actually thought about it much because everyone knows the numbers in English, I assume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then like now that you mention it, if you don't know the numbers in that language and you go to China, you're going to suffer everywhere, right?
Everywhere, every single place. Numbers matter every single place. So that's when I realized how important it was. So it was literally every single place.
What about writing and reading? What about that?
I can't write. I can write nothing. Well, I can recognize a few characters. I can recognize my name in Chinese. I can recognize a few characters. I'm actually supposed to, if I have to do my internship, I'm supposed to recognize around 2,000 characters. That's not easy.
So how are you going to like? So if you can't even read Chinese that's written on the.
No.
So how are you going to do the exam? If it's a written exam?
Yeah. There's written and a computer-based exam. So
Okay.
both are accepted, but both is fully in Chinese.
Okay.
So I'm planning on starting studying. Hopefully,
you're
I have to.
planning on starting to study, hopefully.
Well, for a guy who's studying medicine,
Yeah.
Chinese is very boring to start studying. I swear. I look at one page of Chinese and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like when I can use my time in a better way. I uh, the reward you get studying something related to medicine and Chinese, the time I spent.
Yeah. So in Chinese, right, the characters, like you mentioned it once when you were speaking, like the characters is just one character is one word, and the other character is the other
There are
word.
no alphabets. There are no alphabets. See, it doesn't make sense.
Bro just went,
Makes sense at
bro,
the
there are
same
no
time.
alphabets. There are no alphabets.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. So one word is one character, and the
Right.
other word is another character.
Okay.
And a big word is just like two words made up. I don't remember an example to tell you, but it's basically one character means one word.
Mm-hmm.
So me learning 1,200 words
Yeah.
means me learning at least 500 to 600 different characters.
So if you say school is one word, and then school children would be two characters joining together, something like that.
No, there's school. If I'm not wrong, okay.
Mm-hmm.
School is like three different characters. School is the shuisha, okay.
Okay.
That's what they say for school.
Okay.
Like three different characters, and even though there are three different characters,
Mm-hmm.
okay, these three different characters individually can mean something else, and together it means something else. Good. That's how confusing Chinese is for me. So school is shuisha and students is the shuishang. So shuisha shuishang. Shuishang also I'm not really sure, but my Chinese is very bad. I think it's like three characters.
So okay, I'll give
But
another
these
example.
characters individually mean different things.
So I'll give another example. Let's say car. Let's say a car, right? So how many characters would that be?
I don't know, bro. I swear. I swear I don't know.
Okay. So but it seems
Car.
it seems very complicated. I mean, because you see, like when you have 26 alphabets, and then you have somehow those 26 alphabets coming in some different order to make up a word, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even though like whatever in English, whatever word it is, you can manage to read it,
Yeah.
whether it's right or wrong. You might have a small grammar error.
Mm.
But in Chinese, unless you know that character, you can't read it at all. So I watched this video of locals speaking, okay,
Mhm.
and so there was this guy who was interviewing random locals on the street,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Do you know?" I don't remember the video exactly,
Mhm.
but he was just asking students
Mhm.
whether they know all of the words in Chinese,
Okay.
and all of them were like, "No, how can you be poor? How can you know everything? Unless you are doing literature in Chinese or something, or unless you're doing a PhD in some language, something." So all of them denied that they can know everything in Chinese. So unlike English, you can manage to read something,
Yeah.
whether you read in the wrong way. But Chinese, it would look like a different language even to the locals, unless they recognize that character.
Bro, that's
Well,
just
that is my
crazy.
understanding of the Chinese language.
So like you could be Chinese and live in China for 20 years, and still you could see a character and it would look like gibberish to you because that's the first time you've seen it and you can't figure out how to pronounce it.
Yeah, that's as per the video, that's how it was. Saying that there might be characters that they
Damn.
themselves would not know.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's just
like for example, with English, you wouldn't look at an alphabet and be like, I have never seen this in my life. Yeah, but that doesn't work the same way with Chinese.
yeah. Well, that's that's just crazy, man. Wow, okay, that's very interesting though.
So imagine me looking all over. I look at all over. I look all over. I'm like, what is this? Well, a lot of people like people who are apart with me, like my classmates. A lot of them are way ahead of me in Chinese.
Okay.
They have been putting a lot of time, studying Chinese and being in touch. So we have like 4 levels. It's called HSK, and we have to complete HSK 4. HSK 1 is like very basic. So I swear I can't even read HSK 1. So most of them are. I think most of them are like HSK 3. So that's like 800 to 1,000 words if I'm not wrong.
Bro. So it's like, you hit levels on the number of, the number of kills, number of words. Okay, you hit 500, you hit 800.
Number of words increase, yeah. Yeah, the number of words you can recognize increase. That's how it works.
That's just crazy, man. I can't even wrap my head around the fact that you have to remember 800 separate characters for words, 1,000 to, oh my God, man. Bro, crazy. It's crazy.
That's how difficult it is.
Yeah, let's move on from language. I think, yeah, that's enough for the language. Yeah, so the other aspect that we usually talk about is after the language and food, are the people themselves, right? So the locals. Since you're in a university environment, so in your university, how is it? Like in your batch, is it foreign students and the locals are in the same class, same batch, or is it separated?
No, well, it's different. We have 2 different universities. So the locals, they have a different separate university. The international students, we have a separate university. We don't mix with each other, or interact with each other. We have separate teachers. Everything is separate. We don't meet them in any way, not even for hospitals.
Okay, so they study in Chinese, and you all do it in English.
They study in Chinese. Yeah. So the international students, we go as a separate school. It's called IEC, National Education College.
Right. So you all have no interactions with the locals, but like you all have interactions with patients who are locals, or like the daily interactions with them.
By not having interactions, I mean, if you take the studies, we do not have any interactions by college and class. But other than that, for other stuff, yes, we have activities we do together. For example, the sports meet or games, like football matches. We play against them, volleyball, basketball.
Okay.
So there are a lot of places where we interact with the Chinese students. It can be a hit or run with Chinese.
Okay.
So it's different. I think it's the generation, the old people. Okay, the old people tend to be less accepting towards foreigners.
Well, that's a general trend, I think, across. I mean, east, west, wherever you go, it's there. Old people are like a bit,
I had a personal experience where a lot of people also told me the same thing happened to them.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when you're traveling in the metro, when you sit next to a Chinese middle-aged or above middle-aged person, maybe in their 50s, 60s, they straight away stand up, and they would prefer standing rather than sitting next to us.
Okay, wow,
and this is worst when you're black. They face more discrimination compared to us. Yeah, but the new generation is more accepting. They actually interact with us regardless of how well their English is. They try to make conversations. They try to talk to us whatever English they can. So, well, not all of the older generation is like that. Some of them do talk to us, but I would say majority of the older generation is very less accepting towards foreigners.
So like when you go into shops and you want to buy something, or like a taxi, most of them would be older people, right, who would be in the shops. So
well, shopkeepers are the only exception.
Because they need business.
Yeah, I think shopkeepers are the only exception.
Right.
I have not met a rude older shopkeeper. All of them have been very nice.
You have gone into hospitals, right? So the patients that you interact with, how is that?
Well, here's the thing. So we don't talk to them much. So basically, most of the time we have a teacher who is translating for us, or some of them speak good Chinese. So I have spoken to patients who speak English.
Right.
So most of them, so even considering that middle-aged and the new, the young generation, all of them are very, they like to interact. So most of the older generations, they seem annoyed when we go to question them or when we're around them.
Okay. So like even when you're going to clinicals, you'll have to have someone there to translate for you and all that, and like you'll have that small issue with the language gap, right?
Yeah, but it's not supposed to be like that, We are supposed to be learning Chinese well enough for us to be able to communicate, interact with them without any language barriers. The reason for my setback in Chinese language would be, I think, 2 years I did online because I did not know how important it would be. Because if I had knew, I would have,
taken more of an effort.
Taken it more seriously.
Yeah, I get it. So, like
more of an effort, yeah.
You mentioned that you went in the metro and you had this old lady next to you just stand up and choose to stand rather than sit next to you, right? So, have you ever faced any other incidents like that, like any racist incidents or like any incidents like have you had a problem with safety? Like, what is the safety factor like in China for foreign students and travelers?
Okay, so it's very safe. It's actually very safe because so girls, they're also like this one of the countries that they can walk out in the middle of the night with no fear of anything happening to them.
Right.
Because none of them has faced any problems being alone, regardless of that, whether it's in the city or it's in, because my university is like a 1 hour drive away from the city, and it's not as busy as the city would be.
Okay.
So there are shady places too, but regardless of that, they have never faced any issues with local people. So, and plus there's cameras all over. There's cameras all over.
So like police monitoring everything.
Yeah, probably. So whichever corner you take, whichever road you take, there's cameras monitoring 24/7. So that can even that can be a good thing, and people might even think about it as invading their privacy. But overall, that the statistics show that the crime rate is very low in China. That might be why.
Yourself personally, or none of your friends or batchmates haven't ever faced any problems, right? So that speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been there for 2 years. So if something had to happen, I think someone would have faced.
Yeah.
But till now, unless it was a personal dispute, so some of them has had problems with taxis when a taxi guy overcharged them.
Okay.
So those are problems. Those weren't problems like them
racially profiling them, not that.
Yeah. So what I said was like it can be hit or miss with Chinese is either so even the older generation, okay. Older generation, by older generation I also mean by young parents. So they can either really like you or hate you. So it's very common in China that random people take out their phones and start recording you out of the blue.
What?
You can just be walking in the street and people will start recording you. That also happens to most of my African friends.
Okay, now I get what it is. It's like this is something. It's a rare phenomenon. We need to get this on camera, like something like that.
Yes, that's something like that. Out of the blue, they take out their phones and they start recording you. Or they ask for pictures, So, or as the parents push their kids towards us, like get a picture. So it's called Paijo in Chinese. So they're like, Paijo, can I have a picture with you?
Right. It's nice to hear you speak in Chinese, man. I should ask you to speak a bit of Chinese earlier. It's a very nice language to hear.
There's few sentences that I can speak.
I'd love to hear them.
I can speak, sentences that can get me around.
Okay, like a few.
Okay, so to ask how much is something, for example, a bread, a bread is mianbao, and to ask how much it costs, mianbao duo shao qian. Duo shao means how much, and then qian is money. Okay. So mianbao duo shao qian.
Mianbao Doshao Qian. Okay.
Yeah. And a greeting which Chinese use is like, have you eaten? They say in Chinese, chulama. They also use, it's not a question, it's like a greeting.
Uh-huh.
That's how they consider it.
So like they greet you
When they
with
meet.
have you eaten?
Yeah, so basically greeting is ni hao.
Okay.
But that is the greeting in textbooks. But being out there, when I hear locals talking to each other, and I feel, like watch a few people who teach Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So all of them, they say that the way the locals greet each other is like chulama,
Sure.
as a sign of respect, and like, have you eaten?
Right. That's nice. That's a very
Yeah,
considerate
it's nice.
thing to do. Yeah. Or is it Chelama?
Mm.
Chelama. Okay.
Chulama,
Chelama.
like, have you
Okay.
eaten?
Okay. What is?
Ask me a question, right?
So it's
I
like.
don't think there's any Chinese.
Okay. You say okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah. So talking about the people and the safety of you said it's pretty safe. So like and then you just spoke about asking how much bread is like what is it Miambo Chien.
Myanmar, dosha,
Myanmar, those are Chiang. So let's talk about Chiang, right? Cash. Let's talk about cash. The finances of living in China and you know the financial aspect of it. What is it like?
Okay, so are you referring to the cost of living, or are you referring to the financial security and all those stuff, like how I manage cash?
We'll talk about how you manage cash first, and then let's go to the cost of living.
Okay, so well, unlike Sri Lanka, it's digital money.
Okay.
They do accept cash also, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like very rare. People don't use cash.
Mm.
Uh, it's so convenient out there that we either use WeChat or Alipay.
Okay.
So Alipay is by itself only a payment app,
Mm-hmm.
and WeChat is everything.
Mm.
WeChat is like WhatsApp
Mm-hmm.
with payment, with a browser by itself, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like all in one app. So yeah, WeChat. I think I asked you if we can connect through WeChat.
Yeah, yeah. And then I had some issues with that, so yeah, couldn't get that in.
So yeah, WeChat has everything from
Mm.
calls, video calls, to everything that WhatsApp offers and better.
Right. So you
So
make
yeah,
payments
payment.
via WeChat.
Yeah, so basically, so every shop has their QR code,
Okay.
and then we just scan the QR code, and once we scan the QR code, it asks us how much,
Mm-hmm.
and we enter how much we have to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and then we use our password or a fingerprint.
Okay. And
So
that's it.
payment is so advanced in yeah.
Mm.
So payment is so advanced in China that now you can even use your palm to pay.
Palm.
Palm,
How?
palm. So that how it works? Yeah, how it works is you register your palm with your bank account or your WeChat account.
Okay.
So that happens in the bank.
Okay.
I haven't done it, but I know people who has.
Okay.
Okay, so shops, they have palm scanners.
Okay.
So it's basically like a fingerprint. So once you place your palm, like you see the amount,
Mm-hmm.
they wait for you, and then once you place your palm, it gets deducted from your bank account.
Okay. Damn. Like we were talking about the app, and I was like, damn, that's easy. And now you're talking about the palm. I'm like, okay, that's easier.
I say, bro. But I've seen a lot of shops with this. It's not very common. You don't find it in small shops,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of shops has the palm scanner. It's
All
probably
right.
costly. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
Okay.
of shops have
So the
the palm
Chinese
scanner.
currency is Yuan, right?
Yuan.
Yuan. So like, how's the conversion like? And
So one yuan is like 45 rupees.
okay. So
Yeah.
so like now we have to put that in context with the cost of living and because if,
So one yuan is like 45 rupees. So there are people like I said, it
yeah.
all depends on you, how much you spend. So there are students living from 1,000 yuan to like 4,000 yuan.
Right. So
1,000 yuan is like 45,000, and 4,000 is like almost 2 lakhs, 180, 190. Transport is very expensive in China. Okay.
okay.
Uh, yeah. For me, like since I have to if I'm to travel very often, then I would be spending a lot on my travel expenses.
Right.
So I try to keep my travel to a minimum. Everything is available inside the campus, but sometimes you have to go out for work. The embassy and all the stuff. Everything is in the city. So unless I take that public transport, sometimes I prefer to take a taxi.
Okay.
Then one trip to the city is gonna cost me like back and forth is gonna cost me like 10K
in rupees.
in rupees.
Oh, so it's like
back and forth.
Oh, that means taxis are really expensive.
Yeah, taxis. But comparatively, so if you take the public transport, by public transport also, I mean the bus. The bus is like I think 4 yuan. That's like 200 rupees, 400 rupees.
Okay,
It's
okay.
comparatively very cheaper. But the problem is the bus through my area comes every half an hour.
Right.
Or as the metro. So if I'm ready, I rarely travel on the bus. I always it's either taxi or it's the metro. So most of the time I take the metro.
Okay.
So the metro is like every 10 minutes, but I have to take a taxi to the metro station. So that taxi costs me around 500 rupees. And then the metro itself is like 300 rupees.
Right.
Yeah, 300 rupees. So one way it cost me around 800 rupees to the city. So back and forth is like 1,006. So comparatively, it's very cheap to a taxi.
So food and all that's cheap and that's okay, affordable. Is that
food okay? So compared to Sri Lanka, I think it's more affordable out there in China.
Right.
Especially in my university. So food in the city is expensive. So in my university, I can get a good meal for like 15 yuan. 15 yuan is like 700 rupees. There's food from 10 yuan onwards. 10 yuan is like 450. That is the cheapest.
Right.
So from 10 to 15, you can get good meals. A lot of options.
So when I listen to this, what I feel like is even though the conversion is more like 45 rupees for 1 yuan, it does seem like more or less the cost of living is kind of the same. Like here you can get food for like around 700 to 1,000, and the transport is all more or less seems like the same ranges of things. So it's pretty okay. So what about like, can you guys work there like with your visa, like part-time jobs and things like that?
No, it's illegal to work.
Right.
For us, it's illegal to work.
So you're not.
I think.
Yeah.
I assumed like till very recently I assumed that it was that medical students in China can't work.
Okay.
But very recently I found out that it was a rule by the government in our province.
Okay.
So we belong to a province called Leonia.
Okay.
So it's a rule by them, and they are very strict on their rules. So I had a classmate who was coaching football.
Okay.
During COVID. Yeah, and they had deported him
because he was like, you can't even do those kind of like, you can't
do anything that pays you. No, nothing,
bro.
So yeah, and there's a lot of scams that's happening. Scams in the sense, a friend of mine got caught to this thing. Where a local offered them a modeling job.
Okay.
And they offered them, they offered to pay them. And they were like, and they refused like to accept the pay because they know it might cause them a problem. Even after they refused, police contacted them saying that we have information that you have been working as a model.
Right.
And they had an inquiry, and since the police since no one could prove that they have been paid, they weren't paid. They were let go. So a fellow colleague shared experience with me that this happened. Right. And she also assumes it was a setup. But for what motive?
We don't know.
Yeah, but we have also been advised against doing anything that pays us.
I mean, if it's going to get you deported and they're so strict about it, it's not worth the risk. Definitely.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
You're losing everything you work for.
Of course, of course. Yeah, so that's interesting to know about the financial aspect of all that. Have you been to the Great Wall of China?
No, I was planning on going this vacation
Okay.
till I ended up in Sri Lanka.
Okay. So is it far from your province?
So I was supposed to go. There's this. It's a 6 hour flight.
How many hours to come to Sri Lanka?
So it depends on the transit. So usually the transit is either Shanghai
Okay.
or Kunming. So from where I'm from, it's Dalian.
Mm-hmm.
From Dalian to Shanghai, it's like a 4 hour flight, and from Shanghai, it's another 6 hour flight.
Okay. So I mean, but if you want to go to
So
the Great Wall
Beijing
of
is
China,
also another
you need to take a 6 hour flight and go.
6 hour flight. Beijing is like 6 hour.
Right. Yeah. Where else have you been around
It's a
in
big
China?
country, bro. A big country.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I have been to a town close by. Nothing much. So, but I visited, like, even my city is huge. So I've been around my city. Like, I've gone on 2 hikes.
Okay.
It's beautiful. There's this place called Zhangjiajie. It's where they got the inspiration for Avatar. It's named Avatar Mountains.
Avatar. Oh, wait. I think I've seen this meme. Is it the air
The
temple?
movie.
The movie.
No, it's not that Avatar. I'm talking about the not the last Airbender. I'm talking about Avatar, the
Oh,
blue
okay.
Avatar.
The Blue Avatar was is it some place in China inspired the Blue Avatar. You're telling me?
Yeah. So when you ask me about places I've been to China, it's like, there's like 3 places where everyone wants to go in China, and that's the top tourist destination. One is this Zhangjiajie, the Avatar
Okay.
Mountains.
Okay.
Other one is the Great Wall,
Okay.
the Great Wall of China. And the other thing is a place called Harbin. It
Farbin.
actually borders Russia. Harbin,
Arbin. Okay.
Harbin, and it's cold throughout the year.
Okay.
So during winters, it drops down to -40.
-40.
-40.
Is it? Oh my God.
-40.
Okay. So that's why people
Machang,
go there.
nothing works. From your body to your phone, nothing works. Yeah. So people say their phones shut down. Nothing works.
So have you been?
So
No, you haven't
it's
been,
it's
right?
a ice for sure. I have not been. So I have been wanting to go to these 3 places. Every vacation, I either something comes up or I end up in Sri Lanka. So I was gonna go to the Avatar Mountains, and I ended up in Sri Lanka, bro.
It's good for me that you ended up in Sri Lanka instead of going to the Avatar Mountains. Yeah. So, like you were telling me about how cold it is in Arbin, right? So that is cold throughout the year. What about where you are now? What is the weather like? Is it seasonal or?
Yeah, we have all 4. So summer is from, I think, July to now. It's peak summer, bro.
Okay.
The hottest.
July, August,
Yeah,
right?
and then yeah, July, August, September, like 3 months. And the rest of the months, it's a bit colder. During spring and autumn, and winter starts from like the end of November.
Okay.
Till February. Out there, winter can go to, I think, -3, -4.
Right.
That's how much I remember it being the worst. Is it?
So it's difficult to adapt once you go from
As
a
far,
country
but
like Sri Lanka. It's getting used to the changes in weather must be difficult, no?
it was difficult because I went during winter. Yeah, I went during winter. It was very difficult for me to adapt. So, Machan, the worst part is, when you're trying to step out during winter, like 25 minutes to get ready. Plus, we live next to the beach.
Okay.
My university is next to the beach, so we kind of have like a private beach. That's only for us. So the bad thing about it is the wind. I swear, it's not even the cold. The wind is so bad, bro, during winters. Can't walk.
Like, is it
So
strong or
bad,
is
it's
it
so
like?
cold.
Oh, okay. It's cold.
It's both. It's strong and it's cold. I remember the first day, so my university is huge.
Okay.
I swear, it's huge. So the first day I was in my uni during winter, and I wasn't fully prepared for winter. I just had a hoodie on. I did not have a winter jacket on and slippers. For some reason, I stepped out with slippers.
Slippers, okay.
I stepped out with slippers. I mean, flip-flops.
Okay.
No, okay. And I think I was wearing a denim. I stepped out to find the canteen. I swear, now that I remember, I recall that is the longest possible route to the canteen. I'm surprised I did not face to that. It was so cold. It was so cold, bro. I still remember that day. It was so cold, and I still remember how I walked around, looking for the canteen, and how I took the longest possible route to the canteen.
I can imagine the others, the people that you asked, they're looking at you all weird, like, who's this dude walking around in flip-flops in winter?
Flip-flops during winter, bro. I swear. I was wearing flip-flops and a hoodie. Because, so the hoodie, it was snowing. I remember it was snowing. It was snowing a bit. So, the hoodie soaks water. Yeah? It kept on getting worse, bro, every minute. And I could not find my way back. Like, so when I went halfway, now that I remember, like, I went past my anatomy lab at all those, every single place that I could, look around in my university just to find that canteen. I swear. But adapting to the cold was a bit difficult. But now that, now that I've got used to it, it's all right.
Right. I just have a few things to ask about what is the religious outlook like over there?
Okay, so mainly most of them are atheist. Atheism is the biggest religion out there.
Right.
So atheism and followed by Taoism.
Taoism.
I don't know what it actually is. I think it's a branch of Buddhism.
Okay.
Taoism. I believe it's a branch of Buddhism.
Okay.
So most of spoken to, they don't believe in God as much as people from other countries do.
Right.
They actually, yeah. But it's a communist country, So the people out there, they have a very high regards and values to their communist principles. So understand. But we are free to practice our faith inside our dorm rooms in private, or a mosque or a temple. So right. We are free to do whatever you want, just not in public.
So that's just, it's when we talk about another country and we talk about other cultures, I think it's when you ask about things like language and food, and it's definitely you need to ask about you need to talk about the spiritual aspect of that country or the other type of people, because it's a integral part, so it's, you really need to understand what it's like. Similar to that, I also consider the the entertainment aspect. What is it like, the entertainment field in China?
By entertainment field, what are you referring to? Like, are you referring to the nightlife or the music or like activities that people tend to do?
Yeah, all of it. Sports, everything.
Okay, so sports, the sports, our university has everything. Everything a sport you wish to play. Basketball, whether it's basketball, badminton, table tennis, football, whatever so it is.
What runs in China? What's more famous in China? Like, obviously I not like football, basketball. Okay.
Basketball is the most famous sport. You can see the basketball court full at all times.
Okay.
Yeah. So compared to other countries, I think football is less popular, but I think it's the second most popular sport after basketball. No, I think after table tennis. Right. We have a table tennis table in our domes. It's free to use anytime. So I see a lot of Chinese, playing table tennis, and they're good at it. They're really good.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. So basketball, table tennis, and then I think it's football.
That's interesting. Movies, songs, all that.
Songs. It really depends on the age. So, okay. So there's this thing that that I've never seen happen. At around evening 6-7 o'clock. All these the aunties and uncles, we call them shushu and eyes. They
Mhm.
gather up in random parks. It
Okay.
happens in every common place.
Okay.
And they follow a movement. I don't know what that is considered of, whether it's a form of exercise or whether it's a form of dance.
Mhm.
It's like both, and as a group, and they do it together as a group.
Mhm.
It goes on for like 1 hour. I think it's like an everyday session, and like random people join in. But every single person knows what they're supposed to do. It's like a
Okay.
pre-planned dance or pre-planned exercise. So I don't know how it works, but it's just nice to watch. There's a music playing,
Uh-huh.
and they start doing whatever the exercise and whatever the steps they do.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it happens everything. It happens in every single place. Like I have friends who are different parts of China.
Okay.
They like we just randomly met and we just spoke about this thing. I was like, "Does this happen?" And they're like, "Yeah, it happens." So I
So
think it happens all over.
if you have a video of that, I definitely want to see it. You need to send it to me.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So like once I'll be going back in 2 days, but I'll send it. And it happens in every single place, like every single open space. So
Right.
there's a small housing area close to our university,
Uh-huh.
and there's a park.
Mhm.
That park it happens, and there are like common places in the city,
Mhm.
like open parks and everything. So every single place at like in the evening,
Mhm.
at 5 6, you can see all the people gathered and doing this dance or exercise, whatever they do. But they stretch, they stretch, they dance, they do everything. I think it's a form of exercise that they
Right.
consider.
Interesting. So we all have the unique things in their cultures.
Yeah,
But what's
it's
interesting
a
is
very
the
unique
fact that,
thing.
like you said, that that anyone who walks by knows the movements to be done at the.
Exactly. So I don't know how it works. So randomly, I see like people joining in,
Mhm.
especially old people. I'm talking about people like past their middle age,
Right.
50 people in the 50s, 60s. They're like they. I think it's the community. So they like randomly walk in and they like know what they're supposed to do.
Mm-mm.
Like they join in the drill and they know the movements and whatever the steps.
Sure, sure.
So that is, I have no idea how it works though.
Yeah. So that actually covers almost everything that we wanted to talk about on our pod because it's like I told you before, right? So, I did not see the time fly by, and I think we've already hit the 90-minute mark, or we are past the 90-minute mark. And if you have been, I'm talking to the listeners here, if they have been listening to this for so long, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because I did not know the time was going. So definitely they would not know that the time was going as well. So yeah, that brings us actually to the end of our podcast. But I do not end a podcast without asking this question, no matter how stupid it may sound. Would you ever consider settling down in China?
Definitely yes.
Oh my God. Okay, I
If
did
I
not
am
expect that.
yes, if I am paid enough, yes.
Really?
If I'm paid,
Like
yeah,
for real, for real.
for real, for real. If I'm paid good, yes.
Because you're telling me because the life there is good.
You could have a better life elsewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I seem to like the life there,
Right.
and it's like it's become comfortable for me the past 2 years,
Uh-huh.
and then I find it like it's in my comfort zone now that I've got used to things out there.
I was not expecting
So
you to
yeah,
say yes. I was not expecting you to say yes. I thought it'd be like, no, man, you need to come back and all that. So I'm like, oh,
so
surprise.
because I had a different thought of China before I moved in, like before I
Mm-hmm.
went, and it was a very positive experience for me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
The only barrier was Chinese. Now that I've kind of overcome it up to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
I think if I survive 2 years, I can go on. I mean, it's not that bad.
I mean, if you say that, you would consider settling down in China, that's definitely like a huge plus because most of the people, that I speak to from other countries, they're like, no, man, it's not a place to settle down. Maybe you can come here to study, maybe you can come here to work, earn, go back, but then you can't settle down here. But then you're like, it's not bad. You can settle down. It's actually a very refreshing point of view to hear.
I think a lot of people would have opposing views about it, but for me, I
I
think
mean,
it's
for each their to each their own, right? I mean, that's obviously if
yeah.
it's in your comfort zone, right? It makes no sense to say no. But yeah, glad to hear that it's been a positive experience for you in going to China, and The
It has.
yeah, and you know what?
I think one of the main thing was the friends I made.
Right, like locals or from other
I
countries.
No, not locals. I have very few like Chinese. I
Uh-huh.
think the foreigners, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people from different countries.
So it widened your horizons. Meeting people from different countries would have been a really positive experience for you. Can understand that. And I think I forgot to mention this when we started off the podcast that we are classmates from school. I just introduced you as a medical student from China, and yeah, and let's Ravin just came in, and is Ravin still around?
He's still around. He's waiting for me to get done.
He can come in and say hi.
What's up? What's up?
Hi, bro. So we all like classmates from school, from what grade? What grade was it? Grade 7. I was with you all, right? So
No, until grade 7, yeah.
yeah, until grade 7, and
And then he moved to locals. Yeah?
yeah. And I haven't actually contacted with Ravin and for like I don't know, man. Like after school, we hardly even like had any contact, no?
So many other guys, well, everyone just disappeared.
Yeah.
Even Umar.
Yeah. He's in Malaysia now, right?
Yeah, that's the most I have spoken to. Like his Instagram is there,
Mm-hmm.
but like not like in contact like that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's in different places. Look, Reyhan is in China, and people are in Canada and UK, and Brajeshant is in UK, right?
Yeah, he's in UK.
Yeah. So people all over the place, and it's nice in a way. But even Insaf has come back here.
Yeah, it's up.
Insaf is here, and I have to meet that fellow. So he's been asking me to meet up, and yeah. So good. I mean, catching up after ages. Um, Anyways, man, thank you for coming on the pod, man, Reyhan. It was actually, honestly, I swear to God, it was such a good experience. And like, I did not even feel the time going by, and I actually learned a lot, and actually, so much stuff that I did not expect, and so much stuff that I did not realize was different, So, and I'm pretty sure who was been listening for so long also would have enjoyed the experience. And again, this is your reminder to do the drill, like, share, and all that. And if you're listening to this on a podcasting application like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, definitely drop a rating and a review because it helps get us featured. So that's it for today from us, and hopefully I'll catch you again on another episode. Thank you for coming on the show again, Reyhan.
Thank you, bro, for hosting me.
No, it's been my pleasure, man.
Thank you.
And thank you for the cameo appearance, Ravin. Yeah. So hopefully we'll come back on another episode, maybe before next year, because my last episode was 1 year ago. So now this is 1 year later. Hopefully we'll come back on a shorter gap. And that's it for today. Signing out. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye. Good night.
No, wait. I just signed off the thing.